Thought I'd put myself back on screen. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day to everybody. Hello, Anders from Stockholm. I don't have a preview for today I don't have a pre-prepared preview for today because I was running up to the minute there. So today we're going to be talking about several things, such as other manufacturers getting ready for EVs, Tesla price increases, Tesla FSD improvements for some folks, and more. So let's jump into it. So the first item I was going to start with, I want to give people a couple minutes to get in here, and so we'll go to that in a minute. So let's instead start with this one. The Chevy Bolt. They had a plant shutdown for the Bolt and the Bolt EUV, and according to Autoblog, they are going to continue this through December 6th. So I'm kind of curious how GM's Mary Barra plans to not just compete with Tesla, but exceed them, as she has stated, when they're not making any electric cars. They they've got to have a heck of a hook plan to make that happen because this is not a good start for their plans. The good thing is it was based on safety, and so I guess at this point it's just a matter of getting in the materials. So let's move on to more exciting things. All right, so the first one is from Twitter, and it's about Tesla. I just crashed the computer again. I loaded all the news up at once, and then right before I went live, it's and it went down. So Drive Tesla Canada is sharing Ben TV, I guess Shanghai, sharing his photos. This is a shot from the lot at Giga Shanghai. It's just absolutely full. I'm seeing mostly Model Ys, but there's a bunch of Model 3s in there too. Thank you, Daybreak. All right, so this continues on with the Giga Shanghai news. Teslarati was going on, and they were showing us an aerial shot that they got from one of their contributors. If I didn't crash out the computer, let me get this iPad ready just in case. Mm, yeah, it doesn't look good. Come on, computer. Okay, so apparently it didn't go down. I just can't share, so the browser is about to crash, but it hasn't crashed yet. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. The good news there is I've started to order what I need to get a new build, so we don't have to be at the mercy of this anymore. But with the way that things are with the supply chain, that's going to affect us for a little while yet. Let's see if I can't regain control of this computer. Let's see. Oh, it's going down hard. Let's break out the task manager. Computer, play nice. All right, so now there's only one of me, and let's see if we can't get it back. Come on. Oh, did I end the wrong one? There it goes. Whew. Okay, now come back. Yeah, I know it goes unexpectedly. This is how you know it's live. Oh boy. In a minute, there'll be two of me again, and then we'll go from there. All right, there we go. Yes, I did. Welcome back. So as I was saying before, the computer so rudely interrupted me. let's let's go back to this aerial shot from Tesserati's source. And let me exit this iPad for now. It's a good thing I keep that thing handy, isn't it? So, um, show it. Why would you not show it? That's come on, computer. There's helpful and there's not helpful. All right, so here they are with an aerial view, and Tesla China is showing strength of over 54,000 vehicle sales for October, with 40,000 exports. So that's 54,000 sales inside of China, and 40,000 sales outside of China. So in Europe and elsewhere. That's incredible. Sandy Monroe says the Chinese are coming. The Chinese are coming. I still haven't seen that episode yet, so I need to make some time and do that. Robert says having problems with YouTube. You or me? Because if it's you, then maybe everybody's having troubles. If it is you, hopefully yours comes back soon too. All right, so there was more China news that I didn't push them together because as I said, was running down to the minute. So let's see if I can't find it and make it smush together. Well, this isn't the one I was looking for, but this works too. So in China, according to Ray for Tesla, the made in China Model Y rear-wheel drive standard range is now revised to show the range of 535 kilometers, 545 kilometers, sorry, versus its previous range of 525 kilometers. Top speed is 217 kilometers, but this is what really got the crowd going. The 0 to 60 time is now 6.9 seconds instead of 5.6. If we remember the launch of the Model 3, Elon said, we don't make slow cars. And, well, this is not... It's not Tesla fast, but it's not the slowest thing out there either. I mean, 7 seconds is very, very average. And someone else said, oh, the Chinese don't drive fast. The lady whose dad didn't know how to use the brakes would definitely be somebody who would break that assumption for you. I just realized this light behind me looks like a light bulb on my head. He says the Chinese are doing what the Japanese did in the early 70s. It does look like that, doesn't it? I mean, you got these nice little econo boxes, and like very quickly, they're doing much faster than the Japanese and Chinese did with learning how to do quality and the output, and it's not just all rolling tin cans that are just barely safe. So if you're in manufacturing of automobiles, you really need to watch out for the Chinese. Absolutely. I'm sure Sandy says something similar to that. Uh, yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this speed decrease on the base Model Y in China? Will we see that here in the States? Because all of the base cars now are using lithium iron phosphate. So is that just a made in China thing, or I'm wondering if it's possible that it's software, like when they went to the next model year for 2022 and they reconfigured everything, maybe they're going to sell more speed boosts as upgrades, perhaps. Let's see what the people in the thread think while we wait for you guys to explain. Top speed being unchanged means there's no decrease in power output in the hardware. Yeah, so this guy thinks like I was saying there. uh, Ryan says, "See what happens when someone claims unintended acceleration and faulty brakes. This is why we can't have nice things." And Ray for Tesla agrees you might have to pay for 0 to 100 upgrade later. And yeah, yeah, perhaps. All right, so let me close this and see what you guys had to say while I find that other one I was looking for. What camera am I using? The tracking is cool. So I'm using a combination of the Logitech Brio and the NVIDIA broadcast software. So with the NVIDIA GPUs, they can do filtering on my audio to filter out all of the fire trucks and ambulances that are constantly going by this house, as well as what I can do is I can do a 4K 90-degree angle lens, and I can just punch in. So then when I roll around, it just crops to match me, which is really cool. They also have ones that very much like this one that have a gimbling neck, and then it will just track me as well. Well, it doesn't know what it's tracking. Turn that back off. Save some power. There we go. All right, so we were talking about China, so let's see if I can't find the other China information. You know what? I know exactly how to do it. Let's pull it up again. Stand by while I go to my notes. I know that it was Sawyer, so it came with a breaking. And let's just go through all the breakings. Oh, that was neat too. So let me just skip to that. Okay, so that one is no, this one's not breaking from Sawyer. Whatever. This one is also made in China Model Y. They get the cargo cover as standard now. This is coming from Drive Tesla Canada. So on our Model S, we had a cargo cover that would sit in here and it would kind of fold up in half, or you could pull the whole thing out and stow it flat on the floor, or fold it in half and stick it in the under trunk compartment. And a lot of folks who've been buying the Model Y have been asking about this. And in fact, our friend Omar, he actually Omar and Stephanie both bought aftermarket cargo covers because, as you can see, the car is set up for it, but it didn't come with one. And let's see if they have any pictures in their article. They do. Let's see. Hopefully, it doesn't have any music in it. So, it works very similar to the one on the Model S. Let's do it again. Except on the Model S, it doesn't do it that way. It kind of flips up. Hey, what's up, Dan?
What's up? I'm live at Electrify Expo.
Oh, okay. Look at that. What's it looking like out there?
I wanted to check in.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to meet up with our mutual friends in a minute, but while I'm still here, I wanted to give everybody and your viewers a peek of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And everything else. I need to learn how to walk too. So for everybody else there that's watching, the real cool things. Can I turn my camera around?
And that's in Austin?
But I'll just turn it around this way.
Oh, you should be able to change selected cameras.
Yes, so we're
video settings. There it is.
There we go.
Sweet. All right.
So was that a BMW iX right behind you there?
BMW i.
To your right. The white BMW SUV. To your right.
Right there?
No, to your right. Like close to you. Keep going to the right.
Oh,
to the right.
I just passed them.
Yeah.
Yes. So yesterday I haven't finished all of the test driving.
Okay.
So I'm going back to do the test drive. I'm gonna come back after we meet up with the rest of our friends and eat.
Yeah.
But we got the Roadster here.
I've never seen one as a Roadster before.
Yes. So that's the i8.
Yeah.
i8 Roadster here.
Making it. Rich calls it the Prius.
Yeah, there's the Kia Motors.
Okay. Is that where that giant Kia EV6 is?
It should be. It should be. I geared myself to go towards straight to the test drives. So I did the Arcimoto, and I'll have to walk over there and tell you. I know for sure I stayed in the Arcimoto line until like the last minute. We drove it on 7%. This is a funny story. We drove it on 7% because they had to keep recharging at the end of the day.
Oh, no.
In the morning, they put the senators and the important people so they can get the legislation to remove it as a bicycle and make it as a three-wheel vehicle.
Oh, okay.
So they lost a lot
of instead of a motorcycle?
Three-wheel vehicle. They wanted to make it so that you don't need a motorcycle license.
That's good. That's good.
So
you shouldn't. It's very balanced.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're real cool. So later on, when I come back, if you're still on, I'll talk to the automotive guys, see if they're willing to come on.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're real good here. They're really good people.
Certainly.
They're really, really good people. And so I didn't mean to interrupt your show right in the middle of everything.
I mean, this is exactly on topic, so.
Yeah. So those are all the souped up golf carts. Those are okay. We've all seen the golf cart. Okay.
Yes.
But they do look pretty cool and robust than your average golf cart that will be on the golf course. Yes,
Right.
they're very well robusted. All right. Yeah, they also tell you not to test drive after the fact, or test drive then go to alcohol for DIP.
Ah.
All right, so it should be a lot easier today. Yesterday was the main day that everybody gets packed. It is easier. Okay, so I made a list of what cars that I wanted to test drive.
Right.
I never made it to the Mercedes. I don't know if y'all can still see that. Can y'all still see that?
It's frozen, but we hear you clear.
Okay, let me see if I can bring the camera back. Oh no.
Good to see that you got a good weather today. There you are. Welcome back.
I don't know why it's like that. So we're just going to do this. We're going to do the background. So that's the Mercedes. We're doing the EQS test drives. It's going to look backwards.
Yeah, I don't know why they make the backwards thing standard. Oh, no, it's clear this time. It's clear. They didn't flip around. I like that. Okay, so that's the EQS. I mean, that car, it's got some merits. It just needs new computers.
Yeah. So,
especially when you're spending that kind of money.
Okay, so that's the BMW. They're not minivan compatible.
Oh, okay.
At all. They're kind of really super low seating, and I can't tighten it up away. So if you're about 5'7", you might be okay. Under that, you're just sucking wind for a luxury car. They do have a heads-up display on the window for your speed, which is great if you're only paying attention to it. For the BMWs, I got to drive that last yesterday.
Can you step away from the speaker?
Sorry, after the Arcimoto, I figured I was going to do that.
Yeah.
So I haven't done the Mercedes EQs yet. The EQs.
Eddie says that when it's three wheels, it bypasses a lot of regulations. But as Dan was saying, to get rid of the rest of them, they needed a little bit of help, and so that's probably why they were smoozing with the
giving the test drive for the political leaders early Saturday. Mark Freumeyer was in on the press day Friday, but he didn't stay around. He took the roadster version with him.
Yeah.
I was super upset, but the Arcimoto team's a great personal team. They're very open to the exclusivity and all that other jazz and everything. They're really good people.
Yeah.
The BMW, all these BMWs are hybrids and the worst style of hybrids. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay. So if you got any regular hybrid, I had a Fusion hybrid. It's not they function like it's an electric. So when they're low on batteries, they'll tell you and they'll keep harping at you rather than take the energy from the brake system to put it back to the battery. It's one of the most annoying things.
Regen, yeah.
Yeah, they don't use the regen appropriately unless you switch it on and off. With the Ford Fusion hybrid that I had, the regen was automatically, so I could charge the battery up as I used the braking system. So that was the BMW. I did that last, and it was not minivan compatible. So what I did yesterday was a neat thing. I went around and got all my registration done, and then came back into particular lines.
Yeah.
So today, what I can do, like the Mini Cooper is a small line, so I could pick off my lines. I made a checklist in my notepad, and so I could pick off the lines and then go to the short ones I did. I still didn't make it to all of them. So I did BMW, Arcimoto's over there, past Polestar. This is Polestar.
Yeah, they built them by my house.
Yeah, we're coming up on Polestar. We actually seen a Polestar. The rest of our friends were out at we were at a downtown area like Battery Atlanta or any other location, National Mall in the DC area. So we saw somebody driving a Polestar 94, and ended up he works for Rivian, which was a very cool conversation to have with them. This is the Polestar run, which is not that bad. So Polestar is one I have not driven yet. And my arm's going to get tired, so I'm going to bring this right down while I pay attention, because as we know, electrics are super silent.
Yes, don't get run
And
over.
you'd be surprised. Yesterday, there were a lot more people walking in the middle. So it was real crazy. If y'all hear the speakers, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you
There's
could step
like
away from the
one
speaker, that'd
right
be
there.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm walking past it now. The Arkham, I went live on a solo app with my family earlier yesterday, but it's such an experience. This is their cargo version.
Oh wow, yeah, I haven't seen that one up close yet.
Yes, it's the cargo version of the six variants that they got.
Yeah.
So I gotta space them up back over here. So these are the guys at Arkham. They're real awesome to hang around. Got the guy's name here back in the safari hat. Real cool guy. He's the one that let us hang out until after 5 to test drive. I drove it
Yeah.
at 7%. I came back at 4.
Oh wow. So either
So
you
we
were
were.
flogging it or you went far.
What they started to do at the end was leave one, send it out, and charge the other one. So we kept rotating between the two.
Yeah.
But that was real
Sounds
cool
like
of them.
sounds like an opportunity for Josh to get his DC chargers there and be like, "Hey guys,
Yeah,
here's some battery
yeah.
packs. This is how you do it."
But it was really cool.
Or for Tesla to do the superchargers on a pallet. They the mobile superchargers they do sometimes.
Yeah, they were particularly nice. They were my
Yeah.
favorite tent just for their personability. They relate to everybody. The people that were in
Right.
line, there was one guy from Intel, which was amazing. One guy who worked under VP for Tesla here in Texas, which is very
Yeah.
cool. He was a young kid. We're having conversations about SpaceX, just about everything. So us and a couple others in the line, just about how ironic that it is that we just think it's casually in all the flights that have been coming up and down recently.
Two this
Um,
week.
yeah,
You had
it's a lot.
Starlink and a crew.
Yeah, so this is the Volvo. I haven't been to here yet. And as I run up on these, I'll see if they're willing to come on.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Arcimoto's a very easy sell because they're really personable. They really adopted what Mark Freudenmeier does, and it's just become really personal to have that connection to the customers.
Yeah.
It's not okay. I'm about to see if I can drop it right now. I hope you can catch it.
Oh yeah, there's another Akimoto.
There it is. That was good tracking. Sweet. So we got to do the Volvo. I still got to do the Volvo.
Yes, I like that green color.
Oh yeah, that's the Honda. Oh yeah, that Volvo. That's really military color green.
Yeah,
I'm
not the trash can, but the actual car.
Here's the Hyundai. They have the Konas here, which I've been looking for since forever.
Okay.
Since we've talked about our friend
What about
Sergio.
the Ionic? Do they have the Ionic?
I haven't
The
checked
Ionic
yet.
5? Okay.
I haven't checked yet. So again, I'll probably have to re-register because I only got the 3 yesterday, and BMW was my least favorite
Yeah,
just because.
that looked like the new Kona there.
And they were saying born electric, but they're hybrids, and they're
Well, the Kona is actually a triplex. It's
no.
you
I'm
can
talking
get it
about
as
the
gas,
BMWs
hybrid.
back there.
Oh, the
Yeah, the
BMWs. Okay.
BMWs back there.
Yeah.
You see where it says born electric?
And they're lying.
Yeah, it's born half electric. You know, so it's weird. Oh, I drove in Volkswagen. The Volkswagen ID4 is a very solid built car, one of the most easier ones to adapt from.
Right, it's totally unoffensive, not fast, not expensive.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
totally acceptable.
What are the cool things about the ID4? If you check right behind me, those two cars are ready to go out on their test drives.
Good.
The test track will take you onto the main street for like a quarter mile or so, maybe an eighth of a mile. So you're actually being in actual traffic with it on a 2-lane road. The cool thing about Volvo is that they have at least 10 cars here. They asked for permission and they got the ability for 10 cars. So their line moves fast because they're constantly kicking cars out. And they can remove any number of them for recharge and still have a good amount to keep going. So that's my favorite thing about the ID.
It seems that was seems that was a weak point of everybody's logistics is the charging. Maybe next time they can host at a place that's got like 20 fast chargers.
Yes, and the weak points here that I'm noticing is the Volvo's really compensated for not being able to charge often, so they have like 10 vehicles. So any given time they can drop 2 or 3 down, have them charged, and still have 7 to 8 of them still running, which is a great thing
Plus, they
when
got
you're
that
coming
200-mile
here,
range. That helps.
yes, when you're coming here for, like myself, this is the first time out, and yesterday was the main day. There was ridiculously long lines. So my favorite one here for logistical purposes is by far easily Volkswagen. They can get people in and out, and because Tesla's not here or Ford's not here. So if you are looking
Why
for,
isn't Ford there?
I have no idea. The two major players coming out right now, Rivian's not here either.
Well, Rivian
Ford,
probably doesn't have
Rivian,
any
and
trucks
Tesla
left
are
to
not
show,
out here.
and
Yeah,
Tesla probably don't want to spend the money to advertise because
yeah,
they have a lot of demand already.
yeah. But
But
yeah, my
Rivian not
favorite
being there
ones
is
I
still odd.
this is a great opportunity if you come here as a rookie and do not know nothing about EVs. Your friends dragged you here. The
Yeah.
ID4 is probably going to sell you just because they have
Is
so many available,
is Chevrolet
and
there?
it's a real easy sale. So yeah,
Are any of
there
the
you
GMs
go.
there?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm.
You didn't hear me mention them. They're not here.
So that means Toyota's not there lying about their self-charging electric, right?
No, Toyota's not here either.
They
That's the
do have a
weird
couple
thing.
primes, but you got to charge them every 20 miles. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna cut across the test track now.
okay.
I'm gonna turn this camera away from me. So again, Circuit of Americas. The cool thing here is they got hypercars on the test track.
I was about to
So
ask
you
if any
will,
of them were on the track. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, you will hear
So it's
them
like the
whipping
Navara
by.
there.
So, huh?
Is like the Rimac Navara there?
I'm not sure. They go by too fast.
No.
When I come back here after, yes, when I come back after the meet up with the rest of our friends for lunch, I'll see if you're still on. We'll take
Okay.
over there just below. There's a VIP lounge where there's steps to the bathroom, and you can actually see the track from that area.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'll
that'd be awesome
bring
to
it.
see the track.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of. I was hoping that they hear our friend Marcus is here with his plaid.
Yeah. EV
The
smoke.
yes, the last guy that I talked about earlier in the Akamoto line, he was like a close assistant, chip maker guy under the VP of somebody here, small office, 50 people. He wants to work for Giga Texas, but we were talking, and he was familiar with the plaid. He just hasn't seen it himself. And so I was telling him, hey, we know that guy. That's Marcus from, EV Smoke in Texas.
Yeah.
Let us know. We'll get y'all two connected, whatever, because Marcus still wants his Plaid Plus.
Right.
So, that's a great thing. That kid linked up with our leaders, Travis and Shelly, earlier. The other guy, we met up with Tesla Rivian from late night Friday. We connected him with.
They got literal golf carts behind you. Easy go.
Yeah, that's the ones I passed earlier. Before I gotta go, because I have to leave in like between 12:39 Texas time and 1 o'clock to meet up. But right here
right
they
now.
have yeah, basically. I'm walking back out as it is. So right here is your EV. I don't know if that looks right. So here's your EV bike
Okay.
track.
EV
This is gonna be my
motorcycles
next.
or
All
bicycles?
EV bicycles
Motorcycle?
of
Oh,
various
bicycles, okay.
kinds. So I'm gonna aim this and see if it could be right. So you got Super 73 Zugo bikes, and basically once you see the track, it's a pretty large track, the
Right.
same size I would say for the cars. If they leave you alone long enough with it, and it's like basically a go-kart size track, which is amazingly what this red line is. It's where they race go-karts doing
Oh wow.
off times. Yeah, it's really cool the way this Circuit of America's system is set up. So you got the regular race tracks. There's a go-kart track here when there's nothing over there. Then they set this up. So it's really well designed. I think some of the companies can set up their test drive logistics a little bit better. BMW is the best for experiences of just trying to get into it, and will work with you. Arcimoto's by far the best people. They've only doing it with 2 vehicles, and as you can see, they had somebody in the cargo, Arcimoto, just to get them familiar with what they were doing. So we have the Super 73 behind me. Zugo
That's
bike.
the easiest way right there to beat traffic is to get on a bicycle.
Yep. And I'm gonna try
Assuming
to
that
walk
the
a little bit
distances
faster.
and the roads are compatible with that for you.
The Rad Power bike. This is awesome because it looks the same way I'm looking at it, so it's not backwards or mirror shaped.
Yeah.
This is Aventon, Aventon.
Okay. Okay.
That's their tent. And this is my first time going through here. So y'all are watching this the first time I'm going through with it. And a lot of them look like they're repeating as I go down. Uh, SYKL. I'm going to learn how to pronounce that later. Power bikes. Um, Again, as you were saying, traffic sucks. They do sell
and you
creative.
get a little bit of exercise too if you don't set it to
Yeah,
100% assist.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they got the cruisers, basically every
I
design
like
you
the ones
like.
like this that fold up and you can put them in your car so you can get most of the way
Yeah.
there and then
So
bike
they
really
have this.
slow.
This is my favorite one. They have the sidecar.
Oh wow!
Yes.
So you can take your kid with you without using one of those baby seats on a
Yeah.
bike.
That works for and then that works for my family. I got 2 kids, so we could split them up each bike.
That's true. They're probably small enough to get them both in the one
Yeah.
sidecar.
You got a Wicked right here. It's
Yeah.
a pretty good looking one. Wicked. I'm gonna read that later. Oh, Wicked Thumb Limited.
There you go.
Electro Cycles.
Well, we're
So
gonna let
this
you
one's a
catch your
very
ride because if you keep showing us, you're gonna miss your ride. So we don't want to do that to
yeah.
you.
You see this one?
That's pretty.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
white wall system. Looks pretty neat.
Definitely.
And there's basically the same like the cars. You got to sign up, test drive for the bike system,
Okay. Okay.
and
That
they'll
makes
run you
sense.
in. It's really cool. I will recommend anybody who's been watching the show, not sure about the EV Jump, come to this. You can do the VIP experience, get a free thing of water and a beverage of alcohol. I didn't use my ticket for yesterday, so that's 2 drinks and 2 water for me. Mercedes will give you a water while you're standing in their line. Onyx, if I'm doing this right. And everybody's real friendly about letting you do lives like this. American Electric, Yucco bikes. We look over there. I don't know if y'all got that in range. There's a slew full of cars coming in for their
Oh.
test
Yeah.
drives.
Okay.
Arcimoto. You got the Volkswagen ID4. You got another Volvo. And then you got, as you can see, there's a lot more coming back off their test drives. And they usually come in this way. So it's really neat to see them. The medical tent, of course.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is the coolest part. This is the weirdest part of doing your test drives. It's a 2-lane. Trying to get a feel of the cars, where your turning radius is. You're going to turn wide,
There's that
but
Benz.
trying to come in close.
Yeah.
We're going to do a quick pause here because we got a lot of vehicles moving during the day, and a lot of
Volkswagen.
people are friendly.
There's the
They
Mini.
basically want to sell you the car, but it's really
Right.
fun to see. So
There's another Benz.
Mercedes, yep. So they're really good. They go up this hill. You'll see these two. I'll see if I keep it tracked. That's the EQS. I'm going to get into that. Or maybe I already did it. I got to figure out. I have a list checked. And we're near the airport, so that's your background. It goes
Drew's
all the way
in
up there, past the
Drew's in the
stop
wrong part of the
sign.
country to go, Eddie.
Yeah. So, and then I'm going to head this way so we can head out. Okay,
All
so
right.
we're going
And
to
we'll
go
catch
on
up
the
with
left
you
side.
when you come back.
Okay, so I'll do the left side of the bikes when we come back.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later.
Be safe and have fun.
Always.
Okay. For anybody who's watching the replay, if you wonder either why that whole section was missing or why there were chunks out of it, I'm assuming that for the music, that these people are going to come after me for the music rights, and I will tell them to just delete it. That way I don't have to fight with any lawyers. So if you're watching the replay and there's chunks missing, that's what happened. YouTube has changed their policy, so that way they are not supposed to hassle me for stuff like that, where it's incidental in the background. We weren't trying to play their music, but people don't always listen to Google's lawyers, and I don't have big enough ones of my own to deal with it. So, as I was talking about with before we got on our field trip, I was talking about China. So, Giga Shanghai, other Omar, as I like to call him, points out that that the Shanghai by itself, their production rate is greater than Tesla's entire 2020 global production. That's including Shanghai itself, as well as Fremont and what was going on at Tilburg before it shut down. That's incredible. It's incredible. Wow. So that's 652,000 per year for Giga Shanghai. 35% beat of expectations. That's exciting. That's exciting. All right, let me close this down and go back to where we were. If you've received your Tesla Model 3 and Model Y recently, it may be missing some pieces. There are a couple of Model 3s and Model Ys that are shipping without front USB ports and wireless charging capability. You just get empty holes where they should have USB ports like this. Probably December or January, the parts should be coming in, and then they'll be able to either get you to come into the service center and put them in, or send a mobile tech out with your parts and pop them in while you're at work or in the house, whichever. The only complaint I have about this is that they didn't tell the people before they got their cars what was going on. So, just yet another fail for Tesla. Customer satisfaction, customer service. I know they're big, and I know they pulled out all their phones, but maybe put a little paper inside the the armrest saying, "Hey, this part coming soon," or something. But it goes to show you, like I've been saying, that Tesla is doing great at navigating the chip shortage, but they're not immune to it. When you look at things like the power walls, they took a hit because there weren't enough chips. It was more important for them to get the cars out than the power walls. No, Dan, that wasn't hijack. I was just letting them know if they came later, why it wasn't there. If the music ends up making them have me remove it. All right, and all right, let's go on to the next one here. That other one wasn't China, so let's just go back into the way I was doing it before. So this one is one of my favorite Musk companies, the Boring Company. They are going to connect Brightline to Fort Lauderdale Beach in 3 minutes. This comes from, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, almost a month or two, where they did an unsolicited bid with Fort Lauderdale to put in a boring tunnel. And then that got, I guess, accepted, but because it was unsolicited, they had to compete it. And either nobody competed or nobody put a competitive offer out. And because of that, Tesla got the contract. And they went through and they finalized a couple things. And one of the items is that they're going to go from Brightline to Fort Lauderdale. And this is the proposed route here. Conceptual tunnel terminus concept at Las Olas Oceanside Park. All right. So it's going to connect the airport, Brightline station, Port Everglades, the resorts. That'll be interesting. But the good thing with that is you've got a lot of folks that don't need to take cars anymore. The Fort Lauderdale Tri-Rail Station, Galleria Mall, Carter Park, and the DRV PNK Stadium. All right. So this will be a good test for all those people who say, "Oh, why can't you just put in a train?" or "What's wrong with a subway?" Blah blah blah. And like, once the tunnels are in, if it doesn't work, you can put something else in there. So why not try this and see what happens? And the other thing, as I keep pointing out, is you can't skip stops with a subway. They can do an express train where the whole train skips stops, but if you want to go from the stadium to Brightline, and the guy on the train with you does want to go somewhere else, you'll have to stop there first because you're in the way. But I'm super excited about the Boring Company and all they'll be able to do. What if something in the motor is missing like that? See, that's when they park it. If it can't move and it's not safe, they park it. So that's why Elon likes to bring up the example of the speedometer needle. If there's no speedometer needle, you can't safely determine how fast you're going, so they can't sell the car. No seatbelts, same thing. If it's missing the sun visors, they'll sell them. The original Model S's came without sun visors. They had the mount, but no visors. Yes. All right, so this video, I don't think I'm going to share it because it's got music, and I think what I'll do is I'll just maybe clip through it. This is what we were talking about last week with Enphase and their system that could work with or without a battery when the sun is up and the grid is down. So let's just fast forward there. So you got some solar panels, you got a lady doing her laundry, enjoying a book, raining. All right, so here's their batteries, and it looks like they teamed up with ChargePoint for their home charger install. Here we go. So this was them announcing their app, their ecosystem that will kind of tie it all together. The same way if you have the Tesla Energy system, and you've got your power wall, you've got your solar, and you've got a nice display going on telling you exactly what's going on where, and you can set your parameters. And I'm a big fan of Enphase. I'm not just a customer of theirs. I'm also a very small time investor. So here's the new IQ 8 Plus we talked about last week, where you can they can self start if there's no grid power. If you have the the right equipment on your house, it'll self start without a battery, and you can enjoy all your power from the sun with no power from the company, which is kind of cool. And they're just going further into that. And then if you want a little more robustness, you can get it with a battery. But the cool thing here is if your usage at night is much lower than your usage during the day, you can have one or two small batteries instead of one or two large batteries like with the Powerwall. Save a little bit of money on that, and during the day you just know you have enough output, and at night it'll cover the things like keeping the fridge cold, and maybe if you have any medical devices, for instance. And I think that was the gist of this video. Yep. I thought that was cool. This one, we looked at the truck last week, but I wanted to point out, I don't know if it was sold out by the time that we looked at it or not, but the Illuminator crate motor from Ford. This resto mod was by Ford, by the Mach-E team, but the crate motor that powers it is sold out for now. So what I think is really cool for this is, like, Rich could have actually done that iced tea instead of it being a V8 Tesla. It could have been a Ford Tesla, and it's still been electric. So it allows people to do project cars without having to damage the environment. So you're actually recycling and reducing now instead of doing kit cars with gas engines and stuff. So that was pretty neat to me. Some more looks at it because I thought it was really cool looking. Even though they did a little bit of frunk to it for the charging stuff. All right, so last week we looked at EPA ranges for some vehicle. I can't remember right now, sorry. But now it's the Audi e-tron SUV Sportback's turn. So let's look at this. Again, I thought that my car was bad, and I thought that car we looked at last week was bad. It gets worse. 63 mpge on the Audi 2022 e-tron S with 21 or 22-inch wheels. Wow. So you're looking at 181 miles of range on that car, 208 miles of range on this car, the Audi 2022 e-tron S with 21-inch wheels, 73 combined. 208 is what the original Model S60 got in 2012. And then these two cars don't even beat that. Wow, Audi, you gotta do better. And then Inside EVs is complaining that city and highway are no longer shown for 2022. What do you mean? They're showing right there, aren't they? Or maybe they're saying that they're a combined number now over here. Yeah, the range rating. So it's only the combined range rating. But I mean, who does exclusively one or the other if you're not sticking around town? And if you're sticking around town, you're gonna come home and charge eventually. I think that's fair. Keeps it less complicated and saves ink on the Monroney stickers. And then in 2019, so did they go down? Wow, they went way down. Assuming these are the same vehicles. e-tron S. Yeah. Wow, they went down a lot. Hmm. Well, what's that? Once done, who gets to keep the truck? I think it's gonna go into the Ford Museum. Like, that would make the most sense. Or they like donate it to a school. That'd be cool if they donated to a school. All right, so back on my topic of electrifying all the things, Wright Electric is now talking about a 100-seat electric aircraft for 1-hour flights. And if it's anything like the one we saw last week, that 1-hour flight is 1 hour plus 1 hour backup. So, or probably 1 hour plus 45-minute backup, however the case may be. And this is cool because transportation is one of the largest emitters in the world, and air travel, while necessary, is one of the worst. And anything you could do to clean it up is just better. 1-hour flight equipped with megawatt class motors, 4 engines, so you got 2 backups. Where peak output of 20 megawatt. Each of the 10 electric motors is expected to be 2 megawatts each. Okay. It's coming by 2030, so you might look at that and think that's a long time out. But when we look at the cars and they're 6 years out, we think, okay, that's a little ways out, but that's normal if you're just starting today on your car. So if you're just starting on an aircraft, they tend to take even longer because now not only do you have to get your assembly line, get your suppliers, test it out, get it to go, you also need FAA approval or wherever you're going to sell it, their aeronautics administration. So this is probably blazing fast to get it done in just 8 years. Wow. All right, so let's see if they say how big the batteries are. Doesn't say. It doesn't say. But to put out in megawatts like that, they gotta have a pretty big battery. All right, so we were talking about Kia last week when we looked at the giant Kia and we looked at, I want to say the Hyundai or the Genesis with their spy shot. Well, now we get the same thing from Kia. Oh, that's passed, so we might be able to see some pictures of it. Yep, there we go. No. This might be the EV6. No, it's not the EV6. Is it? If it is, it's a variant. It looks like the EV6 to me. That looks like the EV6. Yeah. So where's the one they were unveiling? There were different pictures here when I pulled it up to share it with you guys. And now they're not there. Sorry about that. Sorry to waste your time on that one. Let me do a quick search of the notes for Kia and see if I can't get the other pictures. This Kia is highlighted, but I see nothing. Apparently I only did it once. There it is. That one doesn't have it either. Oh well. It wasn't much more than the one we saw last week of the other of their sibling brand, where it was kind of a silhouette, and then we found later in the show there was a little bit more, but it still wasn't the same. To go by coastal, they'll have to go fuel cells, huh? I wouldn't necessarily say that, but it would be easier to fuel cell up an airport than it would be the entirety of the U.S. Oh, this is out of order, but it was good news. So we're talking now about Starlink. All right, so Space Intelligence was talking about the Starlink mission that just went off shortly after the Crew 4 mission. And so he's talking about Starlink, and then Elon responds, intersatellite laser communication means that Starlink can carry data at the speed of light in a vacuum all around the Earth before touching the ground. Over time, some amount of communication can simply be from one user terminal to another without touching the internet. So yeah, if you're a Starlink customer and you're, say, watching this YouTube stream, uh, and Google's got a terminal at their data center, it wouldn't even need to touch the regular internet to get to you, which is really cool. Then Space Intelligence responds saying their parents are about to travel the Earth by boat, and thought it would be really cool. Elon says that should work everywhere for global maritime usage by roughly the middle of next year, with enough satellites with laser links launched. Until then, it'll be patchy when far away from land, because right now Starlink is bouncing from you to the satellite back to a ground station, whereas once there are enough satellites with laser links, it can bounce from you to your Starlink satellite, the one that's above your person, through everywhere it needs to go until it reaches a downlink, or, as Elon said, if it's somebody who is hosting from another Starlink terminal, it can just go straight from you to them through the network, which would be really cool. And I thought that was pretty good. So, had to share it with y'all. All right, so this one was really cool to me because I've been really, really expecting the mega chargers, and as I've been saying, that the equipment, aside from the business end of it, the part that interfaces with the power company, looks almost exactly the same as the V3 superchargers when viewed from afar. But we weren't sure about the side that would interface with the trucks, and now we've got a preview of that. The drone army was busy at Giga Nevada, and they spotted this. This is coming from Sawyer Merritt, obviously. So look how much taller that is than the Model Y that's next to it. That's a Y, right? Not a 3? Yeah, it's a Model Y. Either way, but look how much taller it is than this smaller Tesla, versus what we would see from a regular supercharger stall. That's incredible, and it looks like it will be very easy for the truckers to work with. Here we can see one that's still in a bag, and let's look at another picture here. And there's the equipment there, so they're gonna have a bunch of them. And to me, those still look like regular V3 cabinets, but instead of serving 4 stalls, it just serves 1. Gotta love the drone army. Obtain some exclusive Gigafactory 1 drone shots below. Oh, we got a video. Let's switch it. We're not gonna watch a minute of drone tooling around. Okay. Okay, so he took off from the edge of the property, and there it is. I was about to say I didn't see it in that other video. And there is the megacharger facility. So the idea that Pepsi says they're going to be the first one might be onto something, because if you've got a megacharger here at the Gigafactory and it's bringing batteries to California, they might have an agreement to use the megachargers that Pepsi is going to use before they come back to pick up more battery packs and take them to Fremont. And then Pepsi can then test at their Frito-Lay plant. They can test the other end of the spectrum. Instead of max load, they can test max volume with a very light load, because chips and air don't weigh that much compared to Model 3 battery packs. And then this is just another view of the factory. Let's see if they go back on the mega chargers. They don't. But we can also see that that Gigafactory 1 has finally got a good chunk of its solar cells done. Let's see here. He wasn't interested in the roof of the Gigafactory, was he? There we go. So just that L side is done, but that is most of it. It's almost done. Let's go on to the next one. This one was pretty interesting looking to me. I don't know that it's actually going to happen, but how about a camper for your Cybertruck? Turns it into a micro home, because the Cybertruck, as we know, has 50 amp output as well as 120, and It's got air, and then Elon's already said that he will try to allow us to get air out of the cabin into the vault, which is pretty cool to me. This would actually be really neat if it's something that one or two people could fold out of the bed. Just kind of origami, sci-fi style tent out of it. I don't want to call it a tent. It looks, as I said, looks like a micro home, solar, and a portable toilet, which is really all I look for in these campers is toilets. Let's see the photos here. That looks really nice, especially, pass it through from the kitchen to the outside. Got a bunk here. That's a light. Got a couch. All right. Okay. So you can configure how much bed you need. It looks like a cassette toilet and a wet bath. That's interesting. So compare that with the Cyberlander. It's a lot more footprint than the Cyberlander, but it looks like it has more room to stretch out as well. And unlike the Cyberlander, it doesn't look like it will do the all the security cameras and stuff. Oh, sorry. I don't know how to fix that. Oh, here. Ah. Okay, so it doesn't look as aerodynamic as the Cyberlander when it's stowed, which will cost you range because part of the whole thing of the Cybertruck Vault is that it helps keep the range up. So I wonder if they could make a smaller one that allows the vault to close fully. Why weren't these pictures in there? All right. So assuming you had charging available, this it being larger than one would expect might be not a big deal. Interesting. There's going to be a lot of accessories for this, and the Cybertruck can just leave it. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of accessories for the Cybertruck coming up, I believe. Let's see, 70,000 for this. I didn't even look at the price. The Cyberlander I know was expensive. It was almost the price of the truck. Yeah, you're right. Oh my goodness, 70,000. So at this point, it's all this camping stuff is expensive. Wow, good catch, Eddie. I don't know because the Cyberlander was a similar price. Let's see what it was priced at. They don't say in this article, but it was up there as well. It was almost as much as the truck if you were not getting a base model. So that will be interesting to see how they handle that. All right, so then there's the Giga Shanghai I was talking about earlier with the production output. And here is something that we talked about on the Tesla Life quite a few months ago, where Tesla had said that they would allow you to buy wraps at the time of purchase. And then we didn't hear anything about it for over a year, or nearly a year. And over at Drive Tesla Canada, they're pointing out these cars are not normal Tesla colors. Let's see if they zoom in even further. Yes, they do. Look, you got a green, shades of blue, pink, a different red, that Roadster green, another blue, and a teal. That's more of a seafoam. And like a Roadster blue. So it looks like they pose the question, A, are these new paint colors? And we know that's not the case because if there are new paint colors, they're going to show up at Berlin or Austin. They're not going to show up in Shanghai. And so what it looks like is that these are the wrap program that Tesla offer, where you can buy your car and then they'll have it pre-wrapped before it gets to you, which is really cool. It's not actually Tesla doing the wrap. It's another company. I guess they've got some space nearby, and that is really cool because right now they only offer 5 colors, and it gets a little boring. I'm constantly getting stories from people trying to enter the wrong car, and this will take care of that if your car looks a little different. Somebody pointed out that their car they put some stuff on the back of the Model 3 screen, and others have put stuff like me on the windows so that you can just tell at a glance, oh, that's the wrong car. And then in my case, I have car color and combo and everything that just doesn't exist anymore, so it's even easier to see. All right, there we go. And then, as I was alluding to earlier, I don't know that I brought it up this time. Oh no, I did last week. But then it happened again after that. The Pepsi Company CEO confirms that they will be taking delivery of the Tesla Semi this year, according to Drive Tesla Canada. And they did that this time on CNBC during an interview. And yeah, he's got a point. He said, this seems a little odd considering that Tesla said we're not going to see them until 2023. But if they're the first outside beta tester, that could work. It'd be a little odd to keep insisting on that and be wrong. So they expect to take delivery of 15 semis by the end of 2021, or so they tell us. Getting their first deliveries this quarter. I hope they are. I hope they are, because I know a lot of people waiting on their trucks, and I know some people who want to get in line as well after they get a chance to see other people try them out. So we'll see. All right, so that's another tweet about that. Yep, that's enough about the semi. Sorry. Torque news. It's talking about, I forget what this one is. Let's look at it together. They're suggesting that Tesla could add another Tesla stunning feature. Oh, I remember this one now. So they were talking about having the cars use their cameras to identify potholes and other obstructions in the road using a new machine learning algorithm that's going around. So Andrea Ranieri points out in this video they're using machine vision to find potholes on this walking path. Take a look at how quick it is. So the blue and the red are kind of like a Doppler effect, and they're showing where the computer thinks that there's imperfect pavement. And look how accurate that is and how fast. Imagine this now while you're driving, and now your car isn't running straight through every pothole. I thought it was pretty cool. What do y'all think about this? Application for detecting structural damage to building, bridges, dams, etc., caused by earthquakes, hurricanes, etc., could be game changing. Yeah, yeah, but in the context of cars. All right, and then there's another link to that. Continuing on. Drive Tesla Canada reports that First Cobalt has rebranded themselves to Electra Battery Materials, and they plan to launch their first EV battery materials facility in North America. This after we saw last week that Tesla Canada is really getting into battery manufacturing and such up there, as far as getting the battery line manufacturing equipment made up there anyway. So Electra Materials is a newly rebranded company in Canada, California, Canada. Tesla's going cobalt free, but not everybody else is. So this will be helpful. And then I touched on it with Dan, but SpaceX is busy. So Crew 2 had astronauts in space for 199 days. And since this Dragon also completed the 63-day Demo 2 mission last year, is now clocked in over 260 days in space. That capsule spent almost a year in space already. And when it came back, the astronauts did have to wear their diapers because the toilet was broken. I don't know if they didn't attempt to do the recall while it was on the ISS or if the recall failed. But Crew 3 that just launched did have the repair to the toilet vent tube. So they were able to use it, and it was really fast. It got to the station in a day instead of in a day and a half, 2 days, which is incredible. It was over 40 minutes ahead of schedule, which is really cool. There it is, shot by your mom, Joe Harrell. Good work, Mom. All right, so recently Toyota was dubbed as the world's third most obstructive company against climate policies. And it's really disappointing because a lot of us came to electric vehicles from Tesla with the from Toyota with the Prius, and to see them, just totally rest on that. It's not like they didn't have the knowledge either. They had three versions of the Rav4 EV. They had the the initial one, the refresh, then they had the Tesla built Rav4 EV, and they're still just fighting tooth and nail. Like every time you see these automakers that are fighting against clean air or against mileage requirements, Toyota's always on the list, and it's very disappointing to see this. And Tesserati's wrote an article on this, that they were dubbed the world's third most obstructive company. So, according to Influence Map, the 10 most negative and influential companies for carbon policy footprint: ExxonMobil, Chevron, so 2 oil companies, and Toyota. Come on, guys. Another oil company, Southern Company, Sempra Energy, so I think that's either a oil company or a power company. BASF, we don't make a lot of things. ConocoPhillips, Glencore, BP, and OMV. So come on, Toyota, why are you in there with a bunch of oil companies? That's super, super infuriating and disappointing. Lobbying is another word for corruption. It could be. It could be. There are people lobbying for good things, but on the whole, there are not a lot of good lobbies going on. I didn't make any changes. Yeah, leave the site. Okay. Another one that came up is oh, these are toys for rich kids. Yeah, I mean, even regular tents these days are really expensive. Just like you put the poles up there. I don't know if it's. I don't know why. Everything's expensive these days, especially for outdoorsy stuff. So Walmart made news on their trial. They've done a driverless truck loop. It's a gas truck, unfortunately, but it's able to do a 7-mile delivery loop completely empty, and it was pretty cool. But a lot of people are taking it as if, all right, they're doing it now. No, they're trialing it in one place on one route a couple times a day. It's not done yet. Um, as you can see, it's got a lot of lidar and stuff. Looks like a extra cooling unit up front. Interesting. There we go. So it's empty, doing its thing. But we've seen cars run empty with Waymo and Google before they rebranded to Waymo. So this is gonna happen. I mean, we've seen Tesla semis advertising that one driver can drive 3 trucks. Uh, this isn't even the first EV, or not EV, but the first autonomous truck demo that we've seen. So, I mean, it's cool that Walmart is doing it of all places. It means that there's not going to be somebody being exploited to do this. Whoever's maintaining this will be getting a living wage, probably. Yes. So, the Driven is reporting that the Rivian wait times are continuing to expand. I expected this to happen with their production rate, which is low, and also with once cars come out and people get a chance to see them on the road and maybe go for a test drive or kind of touch and feel them, people start thinking, I could use this in my life. I want this. And so they go sign up to buy it as well. So now the waiting list is through the end of 2023 for the US, and Australia has to wait until 2024. Wow. So the pre-order list is now 55,400. think they make, what did we say, 10 a week or so? A little more than that now? It's going to take a little while. I think they'll make it. A couple of people I talk to regularly think that they have roughly a coin flip of odds to make it. But one thing to remember is that they've got Ford and Amazon heavily invested in them. And those two companies don't like to lose. So we'll see what happens. So we looked at resto mods last week. Let's look at another type of conversion now. How about this S2000 has an electric surprise under the hood? And it's only 200 pounds heavier than stock. Let's look at another picture. I think that's kind of cool. Every time I sit in an S2000, it's stolen my keys, my car keys. So I get out, go about my business, and then I have to go back to the S2000 to find my keys, either in between the door and the seat, or the seat and the little bit of center console it has. It's a fun car to drive, though, so it'd be much better if I could drive one as an electric. Try it out. Enough of the S2000. Eddie says, I don't expect to see Rivian on the road for a very long time. Where you are, I should expect to see several of them. Because, it's a California car. Built in Normal, Illinois. So it would make sense for them to be showing up. I expect you to see one on the road naturally before I do. But at the same time, being where I am outside of DC, there's a chance that I could see it very soon as well, especially if they're making any sort of push for funding. But I'm talking like a customer car. I expect you to be able to see it first. Right at the Chargers. All right, so this one was coming from The Guardian, and it says the world was urged to slash gas use by a third to avoid climate disaster. And gas is the new coal, says climate analytics report that finds the fastest growing source of carbon dioxide emissions. This one, I didn't actually read this article. I just brought it up because we talked about last week where the U.S., India, China, and Australia refused to, or at the time were refusing to come up off of coal. So now they've got some sort of mamby-pamby agreements between all these places to kind of look at coming up off it a little bit. And next year they're going to get together at the next climate summit and hopefully have some real answers and some real numbers rather than just hand-wavy promises. And we'll see what becomes of it, because I was very disappointed. They had a climate conference, and then our people were not really committing to it, and we were making the third world countries, just sticking their nose in it. You will comply. They're like, we just want some of that electricity. Then, let's see, this one I'm going to share in the chat. Our friends at Inside EVs had a article put into them by EVNX about how Panasonic is detailing what's going on with their version of the 18650 batteries. Oh, sorry, the 4680 batteries. There in the chat. Then Envision is making batteries for Renault, and unfortunately, it looks like they're scaling back their plans. So is this on them, or has something happened with their customers and their orders? Or is it a chip situation? So now they plan to do 30 gigawatt hours by 2029. Remembering that Gigafactory 1, in its unfinished state, is already making more than 30 gigawatt hours today. Its original goal was 35 gigawatt hours, and it's exceeded that. I don't know what the exact number is right now. And then you've got the Mega Plant factory, which is doing 40 gigawatt hours in its first year. And then you've got the pilot line at Cato Road was doing somewhere near 30 as well. So this isn't looking good. Hopefully Renault still keeps up on their commitments, and then they just get the batteries from somebody else. Because this isn't the time to be slowing it down at all. So let's go over to the UK, because we haven't done that this week. And they're looking at US plug-in car sales, or UK plug-in car sales have reached 23% share in October of 2021. The Kia EV6 has entered for the first time with their 349 units and more than 1,600 pre-orders. They'll actually be able to plow, if they do just this amount, they'll be able to plow through that pre-order really quickly. But as I said, just like with Rivian, once people get their hands on it, get to see it, get to feel it, and then find out how little it costs compared to what it looks like, they will be putting in the orders. So that will be fun to see. All right, so battery electrics are up 73% year over year for a share of 15.2%. Plug-ins at 82 for a share of 7.9, and a new total of 23.1% cars with plugs. Not bad. 26%, yeah. 23%. 23%. That's not bad. I mean, if you look at the way that things are here and in the UK, they still very much favor the fossils, so that's a good move. Now, I expect Norway next year will be at 100%, well before their target. So this one was interesting to me. We've been seeing Michelin show off their Tweel and whatever they call it now, the airless tires, and they were showing theirs off on a Chevy Bolt. Yeah, yeah. And they were showing theirs off on a Chevy Bolt, and Goodyear is showing off their version on a Tesla Model 3. Let's take a look at this. So theirs looks a little different in configuration than the Michelin version. They only tested this video up to 55 miles an hour, but other than being a little rolly, it looks all right. And I probably want some more attractive wheels, but that's just me. And then maybe if they could stop doing the open sidewalls, you don't have to worry about rocks getting stuck in there and changing your balance. Yeah, so the cool thing here is with it being airless, you don't ever have to worry about nails or anything else like that penetrating the surface of the tire and stranding you. And hopefully the prices are good and the performance ends up being better than the original versions for both the Michelin and Goodyears. And what we were finding was the ride quality was mushy, it was kind of wobbly and loud. But with both of these companies suddenly showing off brand new versions, maybe they're finally closer. But I think that the Tweel was almost 10 years ago. Let's take a look and see. Let's go to Wikipedia. Give me a year. I'm losing my number pad. 2012 Honda CRZ, arrested modded, 1955 minor traveler. So they've been at this since 1938. I was trying to look and see when the first one I saw was. Let's try 220. I'll change the battery in my number pad coming up. So 2008 is when I saw the first Michelin Tweel. Looks like, because it's coming from these sources here. Oh, yeah, the Scarab wheel. Yeah, so the other cool thing about this is you don't have to worry about, look at how much fuel as far as like gasoline, diesel, and electricity that we're wasting every year, every month on people who don't do their tire inflation. And if you look at any Tesla or Volt or Bolt or any like forum for these electric cars that have the air sensors, which should be all of them by now, you suddenly see all these people when the winter sets in, What does this symbol mean? And they're showing off the low tire pressure symbol. And it's like, you never had a car that checked your pressure for you, and you haven't checked your pressure in over 6 months? Welcome back, Anders. And so when you look at how much low tire pressure can cost you in both fuel and tire life, tires are not cheap anymore. I think the stock set of tires on my car from Tesla is a couple $1,000s. I want to say three, which sounds high, but I didn't buy it from Tesla because they were high, so I bought it from Tire Rack. Tire Rack. Let me find out how much I spend on these tires. I'll get to my account real quick. I don't need a coupon. I'm not actually buying tires. I'm just logging in. All right, go to my order history, please. All right, so for the back wheels, I paid $600, and for the front wheels, I paid $650. I think the back wheels are a little more common size than the fronts. The fronts are really narrow. So let's see. So $1,240 for 4 tires, and Tesla wanted significantly more. So it was less than 3,000, but really close to it. And so when you underinflate your tires, they wear out faster, and there's that one-time cost. But then there's the ongoing cost of having pushing those smushy tires down the road at city and highway speeds. All of that wasted energy is getting converted to heat, which is destroying your tire and wasting your fuel budget, which is not a good thing. So with a tire that doesn't use any air, it's always going to be at spec, and since it's always within specifications, your fuel economy should be closer to what you see on the sticker, or as we keep looking at the EPA website. Let me close this. And Swerve Auto had another picture of it because they looked at photos rather than a video. And it's just, like I said, it's a different pattern than Michelin. And it's probably different materials and everything. It's this hard material engineering problem, but they'll get there, and I'll be excited for it. I wonder if they have... I think they probably do have a different mounting mechanism as well. Because when you go to set the bead on a air tire, you kind of just flop it on there and then you blow it up real quick. And that doesn't work when it's always at the right pressure. Or I should say force, resistance, etc. Because there's no pressure in this. And then they've got the same video as well. All right, so Drive Tesla Canada reports that Tesla... we talked a couple weeks ago about how Tesla had a email with one strike for the FSD beta, where if you were acting up, playing on your phone, ignoring the hands-on wheel notifications, etc., the system would kick you out. And last week we talked about the guy who got to 80 miles an hour and got kicked out. I imagine he didn't just get 80 miles an hour one time while it was running. I think it happened multiple times. So now, rather than waiting on an email, the car will just show you on the screen, hey, yo, knock it off. So telemetry from your vehicle indicates improper usage of the full self-driving beta feature. Please keep your hands on the wheel and remain attentive at all times when using autopilot. Continued improper usage will result in removal of the full self-driving beta feature. So I don't know if this is like on strike 2 or if it's still a one-strike deal. But if you are not looking at your phone and paying attention to the road and holding the wheel and you're still getting this, you need to email the beta team, because 2 people now have reported that that I know of have reported that fixed the sensitivity or whatever error was happening where the car thought that they were playing on their phone and not looking out the window and not holding the wheel. So better safe than sorry. All it takes is a quick little email, dash it off there. So let's see if they have another picture of it or anything. Yep. Yeah. So once you get put in autopilot jail a couple times, you're done. Don't do it. What do y'all think of this? I think it's the right thing to do because we've now seen allegedly the first full self driving crash. We'll get to that later in the show. And prior to that alleged crash, there have been none in over a year. And we've all been saying it's going to happen eventually. Hopefully, it's not bad. We'll talk about that later in the show. But you don't want to be the first confirmed one, or the first one that wasn't in controversy like this other one that we're going to talk about. All right, so Nvidia is still in the self-driving business, even though Mobileye and Tesla are tearing up the field. So by 2024, you'll be able to purchase some vehicles with the Nvidia self-driving tech in it. We'll see how they do. We know that my car originally shipped with Nvidia technology in it, and Tesla ripped it out to put in something else. And so we'll see what the others do as well. And this is a TechCrunch article, so it's just a picture and them restating the headline. All right, so we got a picture of yes. So we've got some good news for our folks with the older Model S and Model X, so 2017 and a half prior to then. So the Model S and X vehicles, according to Tesla built prior to 2017 of September, are now eligible for complimentary autopilot camera upgrade replacements. When eligible, you receive a notification via Tesla app, and a new service option will appear. And this is the Tesla FAQ. And we talked about this previously. Emphasize 90 channel seem confused. This is for folks with hardware 2 cameras already, not AP1 folks with. Yeah, exactly. Because the AP1 camera system is incompatible with the AP2. You'd have to replace the side markers and the single camera with the triplex camera. You'd have to add B-pillar cameras. You'd have to replace the entire wiring harness. I don't think that AP1 is not anytime soon going to get replaced. I don't even think Richard Build's finished his. They were talking about it, and then we saw where Jason Hughes added AP1 to his car, and that was a hassle as well. But on the same subject, Teslonic got the notification on their car, and in their inbox they got this email saying, as an owner with full self-driving capability and an early production cameras, and then they list his car, you're eligible for complimentary autopilot upgrade, camera upgrade. Camera replacements are required to access a continuously expanding suite of full self-driving capabilities. To arrange your complimentary camera replacements, schedule a new appointment from the service menu in your Tesla app. Select schedule service, upgrades, accessories, autopilot camera. So you don't even have to talk to a human, just follow those steps, and after you get this message, and it'll be your turn. A friend of mine who kind of bounces between here, Atlanta, and elsewhere, he is still waiting on his to get done, and he's getting very frustrated because he put a lot of money into this car and did everything that Tesla said he needed to do, and then when he tried to get the cameras before, they kept bouncing him back. He tried to pay money for it himself out of pocket, and they wouldn't even let him pay for it. But it looks like once this is all done, he'll be taken care of, and then that nasty monstrosity will be behind him, and he'll be happy enjoying his car driving itself. Update from the service center. Appointment rescheduled to mid-December for parts to arrive. So, don't expect it to happen really quickly, even if you get the message. And then Gally here wanted to know if there's a way to tell if they're still continuously iterating the cameras. Would it be better if installed in new cars even than a year ago? And Green is explaining that the cameras are the same as they have been since 2017 on S and X and since the beginning on the Model 3. I think that the first time we're going to see any changes in the cameras, assuming that the Model S refresh didn't get new cameras, is when we get the Cybertruck, because Panasonic and Tesla have both talked about Panasonic. Samsung and Tesla have both talked about upgrades briefly on the model on the Cybertruck. The Model X refresh, the Plaid and the Model X refresh don't have new cameras, so I'm suspecting that the cameras we see on the Plaid and Model S refresh are really just to compensate for the fact that it's got wider hips than the outgoing car, and so they just needed to be able to see around that new sheet metal. All right, so Subaru has confirmed that we're going to finally see their version of the Toyota BZ X-Ray alphabet soup. Uh, Sorry, I don't remember the name of the Toyota BZ or whatever. But the Subaru version is going to be the Subaru Solterra. Will be at the auto show, and you'll be able to take a look between November 11th and 17th. Exciting. I hope that it differentiates itself from the Toyota, but we'll see. It's going to depend on what price target they're hitting. If they're going for budget, it's probably going to look exactly like the Toyota. But if it did that say 11th? So we may actually see it here. Yeah, let's take a look. Freeze, Lance. There we go. That doesn't look bad. It looks better to me than the Toyota, actually. It doesn't have the yoke that the Toyota switched to. Toyota originally had a wheel on theirs, and they switched it to a yoke. Looks like it's going to be good competition for the ID4 for sure. I like that color, too. Oh, automatic park assist. It's coming from the phone. I wonder if you get out of the car? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. It's a unique way to do it, and I kind of like that. All right, so they're talking about their electric system, which the Toyota system was bragging about how they got the four-wheel drive system from Subaru, and here they're explaining that they're building on their experience. It's an attractive car. Okay, so the back has got some room to it. Hopefully, this infotainment system is faster than some of the others we've seen from the big players. They got the power button from Toyota. I don't understand. You don't need a power button on an electric car. Just get in, push the brake, and roll. When you get out, just go. Okay, maybe push park, but you shouldn't even need to do that. But if they're gonna do that stupid creep feature and you can't turn it off, then they're gonna need some more of the traditional stuff to make sure that the car stops rolling forward on its own. There's no reason to emulate a almost 100-year-old flaw in the automatic transmission, except that people don't like change. All right, so it might have a frunk based on where everything is. Look, it might have a frunk. It's gonna be small. If it has any, it might be small. All right, so I'm seeing dual charge ports. I'm guessing one to be CHAdeMO and one to be the home voltage. Yeah, because it's the same one on a different side. Neato. All right, so this is another recurring feature on this show. We talk about police cars. The Aspen Police Department requests approval to purchase 5 Tesla Model Y cruisers. I think they also requested to purchase Mach E. If not, that was another police department, and I'm sorry I missed it. Yeah, it's another police department. Yep. But as we keep saying, it makes sense for police to use electric cars for various reasons. And Volkswagen, as we've seen, has been very concerned with what Tesla's doing in their home turf. So they had Elon speak at one of their events. They had their CEO try and light a fire under their people to try and get them to realize that they can't just keep going about it the way they have been. And now they've announced a new factory in Germany to try and counter Giga Berlin. We'll see how they do. So this is going to be near the headquarters in Wolfsburg, and it's going to be built as part of the Trinity project, which aims to build an all-electric sedan by 2026. So that means they haven't started yet if it's going to take that long. That's 5 years. That's fast, and that's assuming that they haven't even picked up the pen yet. We'll see if VW makes it. Worst case is we'll see Mr. D's working for Tesla. All right, and we talked about Jeff Bezos suing the mess out of NASA and SpaceX. Well, SpaceX and NASA have celebrated their loss, and they're getting back to work. Translation, it'll take a bit of work to figure out just how much damage Blue Origin's tantrum has done. SpaceX has continued to make progress on human landing system, continuing to fully understand that and make sure we can align milestones to safely return humans to the moon. Somebody pointed out this morning how many astronauts actually touched the moon, and even fewer of them are still alive. There's 4 still alive, and someone else expressed hope that at least one of the astronauts that has set foot on the moon so far will be able to watch somebody finally pick up their torch and continue on. We'll see. It's an interesting take. I'll give it to you. All right, and now Tesla is officially an energy company in Texas. So we talked about them putting in an application to become an energy reseller or energy provider, and they got it. Congratulations, Tesla, Texas. If you want to read it, it's filing control number 52431, item number 13. Yeah, I'm done. Let's see. So we talked about the cargo cover. So we'll skip that. And then we talked about how Daimler was diming on the other German companies for leniency. Well, they've been busted again. 8 illegal emissions control defeats devices in diesel emissions scandal, according to Clean Technica. That just looks so busy. So they were reportedly not honest in their part of the big global diesel emissions scandal previously known as Dieselgate. So I would wish them good luck, but I don't. Shouldn't have done it. Sorry. All right, so we talked about the EPA figures for the Audi. And if you wanted a Tesla Model Y standard range in China, you're not getting it before 2023. It's officially sold out until... Oh, sorry, I said that wrong. If you wanted it this year, you're not going to get it this year. It's sold out until 2022. Deep into 2022, if I'm understanding correctly. 6 to 10 weeks, around December 2021 or January 2022. Maybe it was another trim. It's tough enough to keep track of them all, but to keep track of them all around the world. I wonder if it was one of the ones that was not a standard range. Oh, and they don't call it standard range anymore. It's now called Tesla Model Y. It was recent. And again, in the too little, too late phase, Ford, GM, and 4 other OEMs commit to phase out gas car production by 2040. And as we keep talking with Eddie and others, they are very likely gonna just make plug-in hybrids and call them not gas cars, even though they're fully gas cars. This needs to happen by 2035, not 2040. But 2040 will see them actually meet a bunch of requirements, regs, where people are phasing out gas cars around the world. But as we see in Norway, nobody's going to wait till the last minute because nobody wants to be the bag holder. And Elon Musk has been selling stock like crazy, generating himself a tax bill. And somebody pointed out that if he was just trying to sell the stock to purchase his new options and to be able to afford it, he would have done it differently, or could have done it differently. We're not talking just getting more loans on his stocks, but the very method of the sales. Like he's now gone into excess. So he's done a bunch of these. He's been tracking them all, and I didn't find it interesting enough to me to keep track of all of them. So I just picked one out and used it as an example. More delays in the US. If you want a base Model S or base Model X, uh, it's going to happen in 2023. If you get any options on them, it'll be in November of 2022. And these are only built in Fremont, so I would say the odds of this changing too much are slim, because Tesla didn't suggest that they were going to make any changes. So March 2023 for base Model X and Model S. Or if you get an optioned up model, you're looking at November of 2022 for both. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, another estimated delivery date update tonight. Base Model S and X moved to March 2023 from October 2022. Paid upgrades to November from June. Model X seat upgrades now grant an earlier estimated delivery date before they had no effect. So this is wow. And this guy says, "What is the seat upgrade?" And it's 6 or 7 instead of 5. Well, that makes sense because they're making more profit on the cars that have more seats. But typically, Tesla actually does deprioritize the extra seats. Yeah, way more chips, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, so if you're thinking about getting a new Tesla, it might be worth just $100 just to get in line. And if you change your mind, maybe flip that order to somebody else or cancel it. But at least you were in the front of the line for a while. Finally, something we've been waiting for years for with Tesla. We are finally getting waypoints. Waypoints, and they're not calling them waypoints. They're calling them add a stop. Just add a stop. It makes sense because that's what you're doing, and you just add the little plus icon in the navigation, and or pick a pin and click add a stop. But I can't tell you what it's like because I'm on an older version of the software right now. I also can't do the Sentry Live access because I don't have a car with a speaker or phone key. Apparently, you need both the speaker and phone key to be able to external pedestrian warning speaker to be able to try that out. They add tidal, more cold weather improvements, and if you're in a car with a rear display like the new Model S or Model X, you get rear display improvements. Traffic aware cruise control chime. That was what we talked about where everywhere but China is getting this. And more language support. Yay, yay. And that's coming from AST, Alaska ST. Yep, we just talked about waypoints. Do you have a picture of it? No. They gave an example of why you might want to do it. People who want it know what they're dealing with. All right, so here's an interesting. I mean, we keep seeing all these weird bonuses out of China, and according to Teslarati, Tesla China is now offering enhanced autopilot for special holiday sale, and it's not what it would seem at first. It's not like you get free basically autopilot, basically full self drive minus city streets. No, 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 no. It's not that easy. This is enhanced autopilot for 30 days if you purchase within the purchase window. So, so it's not as awesome as it sounds, but I mean, it's still really cool to try it out. So, you get a month free for China's Double 11 sale. So 11/11. That's if you're in China and watching this somehow. Well, actually, no. I think everything I'm broadcasting on is blocked in China. But if you're hearing me and you missed it, it was on 11/11. So from November 11th, 30 days of early access, not early access program, sorry, enhanced autopilot. They had two with that same initialism for limited time free experience. All Model 3 and Y China owners delivered by November 11th get to try it out. Isn't that sweet? And then Tesla Charging, again, that's the official Tesla Twitter account, has announced they are now at 30,000 superchargers around the world and counting. These are some pretty superchargers. See, they need more of these at all the superchargers. You'll stop seeing them get bent over by trucks. Well, there probably aren't a lot of lifted trucks in this place. You need a taller one for here. My wife calls them jungle trucks. I've got my work cut out for me on these supercharger reviews. I've got like 10 just sitting on the file server waiting for me to process. All right, so this one was kind of cool. I checked in my car and it's not showing this yet. But we talked about how I watched Engineerix's explainer about how the CCS uses the powerline communication chip, which Tesla didn't start putting in the cars until 2019-ish, late 2019, depending on the car. And so now on the later softwares, like the one we just saw, you can look into the additional vehicle information screen on the software page, and you can find out if you have CCS adapter support. And it'll say not installed if you're me or anybody else who's got an older car. Hopefully, it's just a matter of them replacing the board behind the charge port. Hopefully, because I don't want to get left out of this because I'm big on these adapters, and with them opening the supercharger network, I would like to be able to, if I'm traveling and find a overloaded supercharger, I'd like to be able to move over to a third-party network and continue my journey. But we'll see. So that was in the same software update, the 2021.40. So according to the image shared by Paul, his Model 3 says CCS adapter support is not installed. Yes, because it's too old. But on the Model 3, it should be a quick board swap and software update. And this also explains why that guy who bought the one from Korea, his didn't work, because he doesn't have the chip, as I said it's probably the case. Excuse me. So according to Drive Tesla Canada's readers, the latest date they've seen for the not installed message is August of 2019. So definitely looking like September to have your ability to use this thing without having to do anything special. And I have a feeling I'll be chomping at the bit and frustrated by Tesla service when I try to get mine done as well, just like my friend with his cameras. Maybe he can get in line as well with the charging update, because he likes to go to places where the supercharger network is still a little thin, and he could probably use this adapter. All right, pushing right along. John is asking Elon about FSD beta for Canada. Let's see. First, he was talking about Elon at the Mars Society. Elon's at Ancient Times. Will FSD beta go to the 99s tonight on November 11th? Hoping to start releasing the 98 scores with version 10.5 in about 10 days. So 10 days from November 11th would be on the 21st. My calendar's covered by notification. Come on. Just want to see the calendar. The 21st is a Sunday. So just in time for American Thanksgiving, we'll get ourselves an update for those of us that are already in the program, considering that they are doing the phased thousand batches roll outs. So that's exciting. I'm curious what it'll say on the list now that they're finally telling us more about what they did, and I'm excited to see that. And so for those of you with the 98s, you got to keep it up. Sorry it's taking so long. And then John asks, well, what about Canada? And then Elon says, no guarantees, but possibly next month. It requires a lot of incremental testing and code tweaks for different road systems in Canada. And I think there was an argument on this. Yeah, so Trevor asks, how different can it be? I've driven all over Canada and the U.S. and can't think of anything that stands out. And Rational Etan suggests that perhaps Quebec's traffic lights can be quite disconcerting. If you need to slow down your driving below the speed limit, you're required to put on your, he says, flicking hazard lights. Also, driving on the left, well, yeah, if you're driving below the speed limit, why not put the hazard lights on? It's not required to do that here, though. Also, driving in the left lane outside of passing or turning left is illegal. Don't know what else. Well, that's kind of true here, too. But if these are Quebec traffic lights, I can see why they might be confused with that. But as we saw that when I think it was Jeff took his Model 3 up to Canada last week, it seemed to do just fine. Honestly, the lights are fine. I find the flashing yellows and dirty Tesla's hood to be more disconcerting. I've got flashing yellow lights too. Hazard lights is for trucks when going significantly slower. Yeah, that's the same here. Illegal left logging. I wish it was. Absolutely isn't. Everyone hogs the left. It's true. Yeah, people will disrespect the rules. So that's exciting. That if you don't have it yet and you've been driving well, you will soon be getting your FSD beta, assuming that you're meeting all the other requirements, like continuing to subscribe to it, having prepaid it, or whatever. So. Saw that one. So this one's coming from Reddit. The Tesla Model Y price increased again by $1,000 for the long range and the performance as of 3 days ago. That's another reason to get in line now if you might want a car in the future, is that your price gets locked in once you've picked your color, picked your equipment, and say buy it now. You give them the $100, and then you don't have to give them the rest of the money until the car's almost ready. You give them $5,000 once it's ready to go to the factory, at least at the time that I bought mine, and then you give them the rest of it as your loan or cash when it gets delivered, or your down payment if you go a lease. There we go. So this one was good news, because now that there is no Model Y, Standard Range Plus, they're just, Model 3, they're all just Model 3. According to Drive Tesla Canada, all Model 3s now come standard with heated steering wheel and heated rear seats. Because at 40 some odd grand, it felt like they were nickel and diming to keep charging extra for those items. But it does also put less distance between the Model 3 long range and the Model 3 now, because what you get really is speakers, and what else do you get aside from the speakers? All models include heated seats, all 5 seats with individual controls, and heated steering wheels, cargo space, wireless, custom driver profiles, heated side mirrors with auto dimming. The auto dimming comes and goes with Tesla. Tinted roof glass, and music and media over Bluetooth. Doesn't say what you get. All right, let's take ourselves a little field trip. Not as fun as our last field trip where we went to Austin, but let's go to Tesla. No, thank you. All right, so that's performance. Let's go rear wheel drive. So you get range, obviously range, and another motor. Faster supercharging. A faster charger on board. maybe a better warranty. I don't know how to do side by side on this software. Well, let's compare. There we go. Speed. Thankfully, it's not as slow as the Model Y in China. Woo. Range, of course. Top speed, 5 miles an hour. What about the rest of it? There's a lot more to it than that. They won't let me pick. Okay, so I had to scroll up to pick? That's stupid. Alright, so you get a 4-year, 50,000 mile warranty, 8 years, 120. 4 years, 58 years, or 100,000. So you get 20,000 more miles of battery warranty, drive unit. And faster supercharging, faster home charging, an extra motor, extra range, extra acceleration. Okay, so there's still reasons to plus up, but there's less separation than there was before. There used to be significant separation between the base Model Y and or Model 3 and Model Y and the next bump up. Oh, okay, here we go. This one I alluded to earlier in the show. About the first FSD beta crash that we know of, allegedly. So Gabriel at Tesla Addicted was off Twitter today, excuse me if that was commented before, FSD beta, even autopilot will disengage as soon as you apply even a little bit more force than the minimum required to avoid the nag. True, I find myself out of FSD in turns all the time. Little things like that make me want to stick to Legacy, ordering stuff in advance. Well, it's the same thing with Legacy though, like with my Volt. Depending what packages you got would determine what was on it, and if you ordered it before a price increase, you got to keep the lower price unless your dealer was a jerk. And the other part of that was it was rare for them to be sold out for a year on these legacy cars unless you were doing something like a Ferrari or a Bentley or something like that where they needed the lead time. And well, so what if you want it now and have a lot of money, you're gonna wait. All right, so FSD beta will never force you to do something. I smell BS or a bad driver. And so let's get into what this person claims with their NHTSA report. Components: lane departure, forward collision avoidance. ID number 11439740. On November 3rd in Bree, California, this person, identified by VIN, the vehicle was in FSD beta mode, and while taking a left turn, the car went into the wrong lane, and I was hit by another driver in the lane next to mine. The car gave an alert halfway through the turn, so I tried to turn the wheel to avoid it from going into the wrong lane, but the car by itself took control and forced itself into the incorrect lane, creating an unsafe maneuver, putting everyone involved at risk. The car is severely damaged on the driver's side. Nah, buddy. Nah, it doesn't happen that way. My shoulder has been hurting for quite a while now, and I can still overpower the car without any pain. And then once you've taken control, the car doesn't take control back unless you turn it back on again. And even then, if the wheel is turned too far, it won't take control again until you straighten it out. Like even in the parking lot, when I try to turn on, like I'm leaving the parking lot and try to turn on FSD beta, if I'm too far left or right spin on the wheel, it won't kick in until I straighten it out a little bit. And on top of that, the lane departure control system, if you have that turned on, it doesn't override the driver. It just feels like you've steered the car into a small rut in the pavement, and then you look at the road and you're like, there's nothing there. Why does it feel like I'm in a like a 1-inch ditch? And you're not. It's that's just the kind of guiding nudge that it gives you. And if it's doing that and it's doing it wrong, like I found sometimes with a double left turn lane, sometimes it will think that I'm crossing the line. It'll try and help me avoid that. You just steer harder and you got it. I think what this is another case of very similar to the people who have pedal confusion and then swear up and down that the car, crashed into the wall and they had nothing they could do. When really what's happening is they think their foot's on the brake, and so they just keep pushing harder, and then they end up slamming into a wall. This Model Y right here, it has an interior camera, and you can't turn off the data logging when you're in the beta program. So I imagine it won't be very long before one, this person gets kicked out, and two, we find out the real story as far as what really happened. But anyone who's had even an hour of experience with Tesla Autopilot, Tesla Navigate on Autopilot, or Tesla FSD Beta will be able to tell you that this doesn't pass the smell test. What do y'all think? I mean, let's see what these people think while we wait to hear what you guys think. Hey, look, it's me. Even the lane departure corrective steering can't override the driver. It just feels like you drove into a small rut in the pavement. Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, he messed up. This complaint is from Bree, California. I kept thinking of this. Maybe this guy's from the other side. Maybe he's from that show. The moment I heard the statement from on a YouTube video, I blurted out BS. No way the car forces against the driver. Yeah, exactly. My car in regular autopilot has required extreme force to take over before multiple times in Model Y, never Model 3, but I never had issues in beta. So this part, when the car is confident it's doing the right thing, it's a little bit more difficult to steer out of it, but I can't imagine what it would take to be incapable of steering out of the minimal force that the car requires to take over. And even so, when you hit the brakes, it drops out of everything anyway. Not joking, I had to make a service appointment after switching from my 3. It took a lot of strength to take over at times. I wonder, on my Model S, it was harder to take over in sport steering. And I switched off of sport steering for standard when a doctor was talking about how it messed up his back and shoulders from steering in sport all the time. So I went back to standard. On my Model X, it's been in standard the whole time. I did test out comfort and sport to see how they felt. They felt the same. But on my Model X, it requires more force outside of beta to maintain FSD or to maintain auto steer, autopilot, whatever, than it did on my Model S. But in FSD beta, it uses the same amount of force as my Model S, which was AP1 used to require to stay in the system. So it could be different versions of the steering controller. I don't know. Maddie may have an upper body strength issue. I mean, because I'm not strong, but I'm not weak enough that I can't oversteer the computer. I keep accidentally disengaging beta when it's making turns because I accidentally applied too much pressure. The threshold for how much pressure needs to be applied during turns is very low. Also, the stalk and brakes are right there too. Yeah. Same even in somewhat dangerous edge cases. If you have your hands on the steering, a little counter pressure immediately disengages autopilot. Yep. I wouldn't say zero. I'd say it's near zero chance that the car would not let you steer back. And in my opinion, yes, the first thing to do after a crash is blame the car. I don't want to get pedantic and reply to that, but that's exactly what I think. It's not exactly zero. While it's possible the car malfunction, the possibility of malfunction is far, far lower than the possibility of inattention to crash to blame the car. Absolutely. Complete BS, drive beta 95% of the time. I've accidentally disengaged many times because I accidentally put too much pressure and resistance on the wheel. The car is extremely easy to override. Bad drivers. Yeah, I mean, I've done now. Let me see how many miles I've done since the beta. Let me open this in a new window. So my software updates. Let's do the calendar this month. So in October, I got my first update. Come on, computer. Why are you gonna be like this now? Well, it could crash again, so that's better than that. That's November. We were just talking about October. Why would you? All right, so I've selected October. There it is. All right, so 36.5.2. Done thousands of miles on the beta. So from the 24th through now. This wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so I've done a bunch of miles on the beta, and it doesn't sound right. One spot on 485, 85 per hour. I was accidentally turned it off because I get nervous. I was managing the curve. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when NHTSA comes up and reviews the support. Just because the person reported it doesn't mean that they're right. It just means that they've reported this, and now if NHTSA deems it necessary, they'll do an investigation, and we'll see what they say about it. But I don't think anything's become of this. Just like we saw with the constable who wasn't even in his jurisdiction complaining that the Texas car was on autopilot when it wasn't equipped with autopilot and was on a road where autopilot doesn't work. And then it turned out that the driver was driving drunk and the seats weren't empty; they were full. And then Teslarati wrote about that as well. GM is talking about a military version of their Hummer pickup truck and SUV. The price is right for military, over $100,000, but I don't know. Are they going to up armor this thing? Because a consumer car isn't ready for military service like that. And if you're going to use a regular consumer car, there are much cheaper models available than the Hummer. So let's see. They're building a light electric reconnaissance vehicle. So no, they're talking real service. The ELRV prototype is planned for 2022 and will be developed by GM Defense as a modified version of the Hummer EV to fit U.S. Army specifications. This now completes the circle. Yeah, because the original Humvee was a military vehicle. I don't know. It was kind of neat because of the full circle aspect, but I don't know that is right for modern military applications other than the high price. And I don't know. What do you guys think of that? All right, so the Porsche Taycan is now coming as a Sport Turismo GTS, and we'll be able to see that at the LA Auto Show this week. Yay! I'm curious. Let's see. In 2 days. In 2 days, you'll be able to see it. So we'll talk about this next week when I get pictures then. But anybody in LA, if you can go through and take some photos for us, that'd be fun to be able to share it with y'all. And then a Tesla exec explains where the real competition is coming from and why the battle is far from over. Bottom line up front, the real competition is all the combustion cars and not the electrics. So the exec says, for the past 5 years, I've been asked some version of, and what about all the competitors? Pretty much daily. Well over 90% of the cars sold this year will be fossils, and it's those fossils that that lose share to all competitive EVs. It's surprising that this is still not an established view. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I think that this right here is a really good point. That the mission for Tesla is going to be to electrify all the things and bring about the adaptation of clean transportation. And we see that with them opening the superchargers. We see that with them sharing their patents for free. Obviously, there's strings attached, but they're there. And And when Elon spends his time talking to other automakers, he talks to Ford, he talked to Volkswagen, and they built whole cars for Daimler with the Smart and for Toyota with the RAV4 EV. The only reason they aren't still doing those sorts of things now isn't because they don't want to, but because they're out of chips and they're out of batteries. And it really is kind of a tough ethical concern to say, hey, are we going to take these supplies for us, or are we going to fulfill our contract? It's like, I think that whenever they do finally catch up, we'll probably see their OEM services pick back up again. And then we look at the fact that he's willing to consider, once FSD is out of beta, selling FSD to other automakers, which is really cool. So, I didn't forget. I thought I forgot. So, Menlo Park police are going to purchase Model Ys and Mustang Mach-E's for their police force. I think this will be the first Mustang Mach-E that we've seen in police service. They call it their pilot program, and again, the same stuff that makes the Model Y great for the police department. So does the Mach-E. The Mach-E also has the benefit of being on the purchase list for most police departments, and it's a Ford, so their dealership might do fleet discounts. They might do fleet bundles. Hey, if you buy 20 Mach-E's, we'll throw in some F-150s or whatever they negotiate. But it's good to see that that's going to happen. It looks like this one's going to be hooked up as stealth, whereas we've seen some of the Model 3s and Ys hooked up as stealth, and some of them with the light bar across the top. Interesting. Yeah. All right. And did anything else pop up while we were out? Not yet. So we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for showing up, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again to Zach. I really appreciate that.